Hello everyone, it's Cassidy. I've stayed quiet publicly for months and honestly, I never wanted to make this video. But there has been a clip circulating the internet once again that was filmed inside my old apartment and without my consent. It's full of false claims, it's caused harassment, and it's taken a real toll on my mental health, safety, and my online reputation. This video is for anyone who has seen that clip and is confused on what actually happened, and for people who follow me who deserve to hear the truth from me directly. In this video, I'm going to walk through the timeline, show my receipts, and share what the actual law says. Because what's being said online is not only false, but a dangerous act of misinformation. I am speaking up now. I've been documenting everything privately, consulting with a lawyer, and filing reports with TikTok's legal and privacy team. But silence just gives other people room to rewrite the truth. So today in this video, I'm setting the record straight with facts, screenshots, and actual housing laws that not only show why what happened that day was not only misrepresented, but unlawful. Fully understand the picture, I must share some background context. This was my living situation. I was the only leaseholder and master tenant of my unit in Brooklyn, New York. I sublet one of my bedrooms out to a subtenant who goes by the name on TikTok. In our signed sublease agreement, it states that all guests must be announced, and it states that any overnight guests must be previously mutually agreed upon for peace of mind and safety in the home. For months, her sister was over constantly, multiple times a week, which were often unannounced visits. I didn't say anything at first to avoid conflict, but during her last month there, she asked if her sister could stay over during a heat wave. As a master tenant, I said no, as I was struggling with my mental health, my RFID, and my job, and I just wanted and needed peace of mind in my own home at that time. That's when she got angry, and that disagreement is what triggered the conflict and the ongoing harassment from her and her sister. At that same time, there was also a disagreement on the upcoming rent. After weeks of escalating tension and harassment from both sisters, I sent my roommate an updated sublet agreement for her final month after issuing a 30-day lawful termination notice. It included the new prorated rent amount for her shortened stay, and a new clause stating that her sister, who was actively contributing to my harassment, was no longer permitted in the home. I made it clear that rent would only be accepted once the updated agreement was signed. She chose not to sign it, and as a result, there was no rent payment made from her that month. After the month was up, I used her security deposit to cover her unpaid costs. I also have this documented in writing. That decision was not retaliatory, it was procedural and consistent with the agreed upon terms in the original sublease agreement. Moving into the escalation. The conflict did not come out of nowhere, it built up over weeks. There were constant arguments, boundary violations, and repeated acts meant to provoke or upset me. With all of this, I began feeling unsafe in my own home. There was mocking, gaslighting, and ongoing harassment which interrupted my entire life. I've organized everything, text, screenshots, timestamps, and I'm fully prepared to share them with my attorney. Here's what happened the day of the incident that has gone viral. The day that ended up going viral started when I noticed that the doorknob on my roommate's room had changed. I didn't discover this because I was trying to enter her room. The doorknob was physically different. As the only leaseholder, I am legally responsible for maintaining all access points to every point in the house. This includes all bedrooms and all rooms. This is true because I'm the only one who signed the lease with the landlord. So I went to change the doorknob back to the original doorknob that came with the unit. During this exchange of the doorknob, that is when my roommate and her sister came home and they became hostile. I then called the police for a civil standby. A civil standby is a lawful way to have police officers present to prevent escalation and keep things peaceful. But instead of keeping things peaceful, things got worse. What the law actually says. Here is what's important to know. Under NYC Administrative Code 2652, it's illegal for any person, including a subtenant, to evict or attempt to evict an occupant by changing the locks or denying access. Emphasis on denying access. A subtenant is not allowed legally to deny the leaseholder access. In other words, my subtenant legally had no right to deny me access to a room that I am legally responsible for. As the lawful tenant, I was completely in my rights to change the doorknob back to the original doorknob that came with the unit. This isn't an opinion, this is directly written in law. Here's how the police mishandled the situation. When the officers arrived, I expected them to follow their civil duty to de-escalate, separate the parties, and keep the peace. Instead, they confidently told me that my subtenant had the right to change the locks, even though under the housing law we just spoke about, that is false. The NYPD officers that were on site were clearly uneducated on housing laws, and rather than separating the parties required by the NYPD patrol guide, they allowed the situation to be filmed and escalated. Their misunderstanding of housing law, combined with their failure to manage the situation in good faith, directly led to the recording of the video that is currently going viral. It's a moment that completely got taken out of context and misrepresents everything that actually happened. This is why in the few statements that I have made, I keep saying that this narrative and these claims are false. They are false because the so-called facts that people are repeating online come from an interaction that was mishandled from the start. The police got the law wrong, and the clip that has gone viral reflects misinformation, not truth. The entire situation shows how harmful misinformation can be and what social media can do with it. I would like to take a moment to clear up some of the most harmful false claims that are being spread about me online. I have never installed or placed any private hidden cameras in any private rooms. I did install cameras in the shared common spaces, which were my kitchen, front door, and my living room. These were installed for protection and safety reasons due to the ongoing harassment that I was dealing with throughout the entire month. And my roommate and her sister were fully aware of these cameras. I have never stolen or taken anything that didn't already belong to me, and I did not enter into my subtenant's room without lawful reason or consent. The only time I entered her room without her knowledge in the 7 months that she lived there was back in the early spring while she was on a vacation with her family for an entire month. This entry was to store a few extra household items, like extra blankets and a plant stand, which were joining my other belongings in that bedroom. It's also important to call out that majority of the belongings and furnishing of that bedroom were my belongings. During this entry, the door was open, it was brief, and it was a lawful entry as the only leaseholder. After that day, the footage that was filmed without my consent was then later distributed and reposted by other accounts, including a creator that goes by the user of who continues to share the clip publicly with false commentary and captions and comments that completely misrepresent what actually happened. Shortly following the original posting, the user, which is the person who originally lived in the apartment and was my roommate, made her own videos about the situation. She didn't post the original video that was shared, but she did stitch and published multiple posts sharing my location and spreading a fabricated story about my character and my intention. Her content left out major details and was presented in a way that was clearly intended to defame and fuel a false narrative. Despite repeated requests from her family to have all of this taken down, the video remains up, and the false claims continue to circulate, putting me at ongoing risk and causing real harm. I also want to be clear, I'm only naming public usernames that have already posted or commented on this matter, and I do not condone any harassment towards anyone involved. Now let's get into the emotional and professional impact that this false narrative has had on me and will continue to have on me. I've spent years building my career and my online reputation, being vulnerable, sharing my story, and creating a community around ARFID awareness. Watching all of my hard work get twisted into humiliation and lies has not only been devastating, but extremely unfair. It's affected my income, my reputation, and my ability to feel safe on and offline. All because of a private conflict that was filmed without my consent, distributed to a woman who I don't even know, and then used to weaponize against me. I've been working with legal professionals, documenting every instance with timestamps, screenshots, URLs. TikTok's privacy and legal teams have been contacted, and formal action is being prepared. I'm pursuing this through the proper channels for defamation, privacy invasion, and harassment. I kindly ask that anyone who comes across this video that you do not engage, you do not like it, you do not comment, you do not tag me, and you do not share it. Instead, please report them under the bullying and harassment policy. And lastly, like I said in the beginning, I didn't want to make this video. There's a reason that it's been months of this going on privately, and only now am I making a video. I didn't make this video for drama, I made it for the truth. The footage being spread about me was filmed without my consent, it's been taken out of context, and it's based on misinformation from officers who not only didn't know the housing law, but also failed to uphold their civic duty. This video is not about revenge, it is about correcting the record. Because misinformation, especially when it involves real people's lives, is extremely serious and can cause real, lasting harm. I want to take a special moment to thank everyone who has supported me privately, sent me the videos out of concern, and when and if you saw this video, questioned it instead of contributing to the harm. Most of my current profiles are on private, and they will likely remain private as I have tons of follow and DM requests of people waiting in line just to harass me. If you would like to keep following my story, I will be uploading to YouTube much more frequently. So if you are still interested in seeing art-free content from me or just content in general, be sure to hit the subscribe button below, because this is not going to stop me from creating content. I really enjoy creating content, and I know those who actually support me would never believe a false narrative like this. If you have any questions or concerns about the matter, please know that I will not be addressing this any further, as this is being handled legally and privately. This video's purpose was just to clear my online reputation with facts, statement, and law, giving you the full ability to make your own assumptions based off of fact. Thank you.